Hello again and welcome to another Mordian Glory Warhammer 40k video. In today's episode we shall be casting our ever critical eye over another 10th edition Imperial Guard datasheet. And once again we shall be taking off into the skies reviewing another Forge World aircraft. This time we have the Imperium's most nimble fighter in our crosshairs. I am of course talking about the Voss-Pattern Lightning. And so without further ado, let's chocks away and fly right into today's episode. As is tradition, let's begin with a brief overview of what the hell this unit actually is. The Voss-Pattern Lightning is a small and agile fighter that the Imperium uses for interception, interdiction, and surgical strike. Unlike the Avenger Strike Fighter, which we have looked at in another video, the Lightning does not come with a high volume weapon. Rather, it relies on a few powerful shots to destroy its targets. Well, at least that's the theory anyway. That's what they say in the fluff. But how does this all line up in the crunch? Well, let's get into the datasheet and we'll start off by going through that stat line. As is the case with most aircraft in 40k, the Lightning has a minimum movement value of 20 inches. It has to move at least 20 inches every single turn, but it has no maximum move. That means you can move it 20 to infinity inches. Of course, you'll bump into the edge of the table before then, but this does mean it's a bit of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it means that if you are on the board, you can go wherever you like as long as you can land. Remember, you still have to be able to place the base of the fighter. If the enemy models spread out and you can't put the base down, you have to go a little bit further. So you can go a long way and by and large get where you need to get. But as mentioned, it's possible for the enemy to screen you out. And also, sometimes you want to be able to stay still. If you've got eyes on a good target, you might not want to go 20 inches. So it's very maneuverable, but in a good way and a bad way. In terms of guard vehicles, the Voss-Pattern Lightning is a little fragile. It's toughness 9 with a 3+ save. This puts it in a similar camp to the Chimera. It will still take proper anti-tank to kill it. Your opponent won't just be able to spray it down with a few bolter shots, but this is not a Lehman Russ. This is not a Rogel Dawn. If your opponent wants it dead, it's probably going to go down. But it is going to take more than a couple of stray las cannons, because the Voss-Pattern Lightning, whilst it's not that tough and whilst its save is okay, it does have a surprisingly high amount of wounds. 14 wounds makes this thing pretty chonky, and your opponent is going to have to dedicate a significant proportion of their anti-tank in order to pick this flyer out of the sky. To round the datasheet out, we have a leadership value of 7, which is standard issue. Same you'll find on pretty much every guard unit. The only exception, I believe, is the Commissar, which is a 6+ leadership. And I think there might be something with leadership 8+ as well, something like a Cyclops or something. But leadership 7 is pretty normal, and it means you've got a decent chance of passing your battle shocks, just over 50-50. You are, however, only objective control 0. This means that you can destroy enemy units on objectives, but you will not be able to use the Lightning to hold the objective. But speaking of destroying enemy units, what kind of heat is the Lightning packing? Well, it comes as standard with just 2 las cannons, which doesn't seem like a huge amount. But for the low price of 3, you can equip the Lightning with a Lightning Hellstrike rack. And in all honesty, you're going to do this every time. There is no downside to doing this. It's not a catch, it's not a trick. It's a free upgrade that pretty much doubles the firepower of the unit. So slap it on every opportunity that you can do. And that's it. There's no free hunter-killer missile or heavy stubber for this guard vehicle, just the las cannons and the Lightning Hellstrike rack. Now, the las cannons should be very familiar to you if you're a veteran player, but just in case you are a new player, they're one of your premier anti-tank choices. Each las cannon fires 1 shot, So the lightning being equipped with 2 las cannons means it fires 2 shots. It has a 48-inch range. It has ballistic skill 4+, strength 12, AP-3, D6 plus 1 damage. With great range, great strength, great AP, and reliable damage, the las cannons can tear chunks out of any vehicle or monster. They are my favorite go-to anti-tank. They are just good at bringing down the big stuff. The only disadvantage of the las cannons is its pretty low rate of fire. Even with 2 of them, you're only firing 2 shots. If you shoot this into a unit of infantry, maybe there's a swarm of 20 termagants coming towards you. Even if you hit with both shots, wound with both shots, and kill with both shots, you still only kill 2 models. So they're good for killing big stuff, but if you come across hordes, they are not going to help you that much. In a very similar vein, we have the Lightning Hellstrike Rack. This has a 48-inch range and it fires 2 shots. Now, to be clear here, you only have the 1 Lightning Hellstrike Rack. So you don't get to fire 4 shots or anything. No, it's just 2 shots. So in total, Voss-Pattern Lightning should have 2 shots from its 2 las cannons and 2 shots from its 1 Lightning Hellstrike Rack for a total of 4 shots. Now, it's got 48 range, 2 shots, strength 10, AP-3, D6 damage. So it's pretty similar to the las cannon, but it's not as high strength and the damage is a little bit more swingy because you haven't got D6 plus 1, you've just got D6. However, the lower strength is somewhat made up by the fact that the Lightning Hellstrike Rack has a special rule, anti-fly 2+. This is not anti-flyer, this is not only against other aircraft. Anything in the game which has fly, the Lightning is going to wound it on a 2+. This is quite good. There are a lot of vehicles out there which are skimmers, and these skimmers can fly. But you've also got big things like Angron. He's a demon Primarch. He's toughness 11, so normally the Lightning Hellstrike Rack, if it was just wounding on its strength 10, would have to wound on 5s. But because Angron can fly, you wound him on 2s. So there are a lot of big monsters and a lot of vehicles which can fly around. You've also got a lot of infantry and stuff and bikers, although typically the strength 10 is going to allow you to wound those things on 2s anyway. Most things with jetpacks, like assault intercessors with jetpacks or Eldar bikers, they're already going to be toughness 4. So you'll be wounding those on 2s anyway. It's really good though for being able to wound those flying vehicles. And I think flying vehicles are very common, and flying vehicles, flying monsters are very common, especially considering that World Eaters are pretty popular right now, and even more so Tyranids. I mean, Tyranids are in the starter box set, and they've got winged Tyranid primes, and they've got winged hive tyrants. There's all sorts of bugs that love to fly around the place. You've also got, although again, gargoyles would already be wounded on 2s, but the point is there's a lot of stuff with fly in the Tyranid army. So the anti-fly 2+, don't forget about it. It's not as situational as it might seem, especially considering that fundamentally, if you look at the Lightning with its las cannons, with its Lightning Hellstrike, it's a one-trick pony. It's a dedicated unit. It's a specialized unit. It's going after big stuff. It's not got the volume to deal with hordes, but it has got the firepower and the punch to deal with those big things. So the moment that you come across some flying demon, some sort of greater demon like a Bloodthirster, you're wounding it on 2s or 3s between the las cannons and the Hellstrikes. So it's very good at conducting surgical strikes against big targets. That's what you want to keep in mind when you're adding a Voss-Pattern Lightning to your army. And really, that's probably the most important thing to take away from this video. What can the Voss-Pattern Lightning do for you? Unlike the Avenger Strike Fighter, which was more of a take-all-comers unit, it had a bit of las cannon, it had a bit of volume. That unit could be plugged into almost any guard list, any guard hybrid list even, and it would do okay. It's going to be able to take on almost any target. The Voss-Pattern Lightning is very much a specialized solution. Are you struggling with anti-tank? Do you want a bit more maneuverability in your army? Is your opponent constantly hiding maybe artillery vehicles like whirlwinds or Biovols out of line of sight behind behind ruins, well, the lightning might just be the solution for you. But if in your local meta you come across green tide all the time, turreted halls all the time, guardsman swarms, all that kind of stuff, then this lightning is not going to be the right choice. So it's not a plug and play unit. It's one that you need to use to cover a gap in your list. Attention guardsmen, this is an announcement by the Departamento Munitorum. Element Games is an official sponsor of the Mordian Glory channel. They offer up to 20% off Warhammer 40k and 10% off Bolt Action and other game systems. Use the link down in the description to save money and support the channel. Anyone not using the link will be referred to the local commissariat. Also, don't forget that if you use referral code TIM3921, then you will receive double store credit, saving even more money on your future purchases. That's all for now. Fallout! However, whilst the weapons of the lightning might be specialized, its ability is universally good. No matter what game you go into, you're going to be grateful for the Agile Dogfighter rule, because each time an attack targets this model, subtract 1 from the hit roll. What's important to note is there's no differentiation between ranged attacks here or melee attacks. No, just any time that the lightning gets attacked, it's -1 to hit. So even if someone flies up to you and tries to chop you in close combat with some sort of like marine character or one of those aforementioned big monsters, they're still -1 to hit. And there's a lot of armies out there that like to hit on 2s, and kicking them down to hit on 3s really screws with them. Likewise, you've got lots of armies that like to hit on 3s, and you start kicking them down to 4s. Well, you ask any guard player what it's like hitting on 4s. It's terrible. Most of the guard strategies that we come up with on this channel are ways of making you go from hitting on 4s to hitting on 3s, because it's just so much more viable going from 4s to 3s. Overall, the Voss-Pattern Lightning is a good unit. It's got a decent stat line, a lot of anti-tank firepower, and its ability is always on. It's also got a good price point as well. It's only 130 points. That makes it eminently affordable, and there's nothing wrong with sticking a Voss-Pattern Lightning into your list, no problems. However, like with the Avenger Strike Fighter, the number one problem with the Lightning has nothing to do with its datasheet. It's somewhat hamstrung by the 10th edition aircraft rules. The issue with aircraft is, unless they've got hover, and the Lightning doesn't, they have to go into strategic reserve. This is the same strat reserve as you are familiar with when you put your Cyclopses in reserve, or when you use reinforcements, things go back in strat reserve. It's the same thing. What this means is the Lightning has to go off the board turn 1. It can't be deployed. So that's one turn where you're not getting to use firepower. And then when it does come on the board turn 2, it can only come on 6 inches. And it can only come on outside your opponent's deployment zone. So it might not be able to get a good target. The big problem with aircraft rules in a nutshell is, more often than not, it feels like it's taking till turn 3 for your plane to achieve anything. And that means that 40% of the game is over without the Lightning or the aircraft contributing to the game. And so, especially with a vehicle like the Lightning, where it's got quite a low volume of shots, if you spend 2 turns not doing much, and then you've only got 12 shots for the rest of the game, every single one of those shots better do something. And every turn that the Lightning doesn't, it's just more salt getting rubbed into the wound. So the datasheet is good. The issue really comes down to the core aircraft rules. Hopefully, GW will amend those, because they are a bit of a problem right now. As it stands, if you are interested in the Lightning or any of the Imperial Guard aircraft, I would say you can't go wrong with putting 1 in your list. 1 is okay. 1's not a problem. It's not a huge investment. It's 130 points, and the datasheet is solid enough that it'll probably get stuff done in the turns that it turns up. You've also got the fact that rapid ingress might help you get it onto the board a bit earlier as well. But you know what? All of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Have you used a Voss-Pattern Lightning? Was the volume of shots a problem, or did you find in this mechanized meta that we existed in 10th edition that it was actually pretty useful? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian Glory Hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, and they have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a big shout out to Bon Vert, Mad Larkin, Marcus Roberts, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Varney. Thank you guys so much. Your incredible generosity is a massive part of how I'm able to do Mordian Glory full time, and it is a big driving force behind the channel. But I hope you all enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching, and of course, as always, I'll see you guys next time.